In life, we are on a constant pursuit for our slice of the pie. The pie comes in many forms, whether it's starting a business, higher education, pursuing a career, raising a family, and the list continues. The burdens we face during our pursuit is lessened when we are financially fit. The Breadwinners created a platform where we can discuss finances and entrepreneurship in a judgment-free space. We're striving to encourage healthy financial discussions amongst our peers to capture our slice, until we no longer want a slice and would rather bake our own cake. You know, growing up, we had the pleasure of TGI Friday.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it was fire. And we had Full House, we had Boy Meets World, we had Hang Out with Mr. Cooper, but we had Fresh Prince, although that didn't air on a Friday, it aired on a Monday.
Right.
But TV dads were like the ish.
Yes.
Do you have who was your favorite TV dad growing up?
Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite TV dad? It's the dad from Good Times.
James Evans?
Yes.
Oh God.
Because I mean, he was a man's man. He ran his household. Everyone respected him. He loved his family, and I aspire to be that way. I'm doing that, being a family man. So I got one kid, but as I have more kids, I would love to be like James Evans when I grow up.
Yeah, he definitely commanded respect, especially because I mean that was shot in Chicago. I think it was on the west side, in Cabrini Greens, which they, thank God they tore that down. But no, it was just a nest for like crime, and it was just bad. But a lot of people called that place home. So I totally get that, man. He's definitely a staple. And outside of that, the networks and everything wanted him to be less of what he wanted to portray. They wanted him to be the drunk. They wanted him to be the stereotypical black dad of that time. And he's like, nah, I'm good. So he just moved on. And that's why I don't want to go off on. I love Good Times, but
that's my show.
That's why he moved. I think he moved to like Arizona or something like that. That was their way of like exiting him from the show because he wouldn't want to be that person. That's when JJ became like the dad or whatever. And when I see JJ do commercials with Dynamite, it breaks my heart, man, because it's like you have that fame and then you. Yeah, but before I'll go off on a tangent. Frugal Freddy, man, what's up?
What's up, bro?
Dude, I admire you so much, man.
Oh, stop it.
I remember I came down to one of your meetups. My wife and I did. And I'm like, this dude is really frugal. Like, I'm like, God damn. So tell me, man, how did Frugal Freddy get started?
So Frugal Freddy started about 5 years ago, man. At that time, I was working in I'm still working in corporate America, but I was working at a Fortune 100 company. I was living paycheck to paycheck, had my MBA, had all this swag, all this ego, but I knew I had all the student loan debt. And so something told me I have to do something about this. So I got a job at Subway. I know we probably talk about that a little bit more. And that started the journey of trying to be debt free. But while I was on the first part of my journey, one of my buddies called me Frugal Freddy. I was like, dude, that got a ring to it. So I stole it, and I told him if I ever make it, I'm gonna give him some money. But that really started the whole journey, knowing that I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had an MBA. I was working for a Fortune 100 company. Yeah. And that didn't mean nothing at the end of the day if I was still in the hole with my debt, my student loan debt, and my credit card debt.
Yeah, I mean, that's you know what's crazy about that is that from one perspective, people think, or society, I'll say, think that once you have your degree, once you're finished with school, you're set, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, we're still just trying to figure this out.
Yep.
Because I went through the same thing. Like with graduating college, it's like my makeup from when I was a kid was I just gotta look good, right? I gotta look good, and I'm just swiping cards, spending money. And it's like, wait a minute, Jay, you should be investing, you know, or you should be putting that money in places where it's safe. And it's crazy how all of that stuff was properly aligned. I doubt if you remember, but we were in Aaron's basement on one Friday getting our haircut. And this is how you and I actually met. And this is like right after I got married, so like 2013, 2014. Wow. You was working at the one place downtown. Yep. And you were telling me about like some of these things and things that you were doing. I'm like, man, this dude is smart. right?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that,
this
bro.
dude is smart, but it was just crazy because like at that time, we all were in a space where we were just trying to figure it out. But we hated corporate America. We hated, well, our specific job at corporate America where we are. But fast forward almost 10 years later, man, look at us.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy. And we're still figuring it out.
We're a work in progress, man. Every business plan is fluid.
Yep.
So, Mr. Frugal Freddy, when it comes to, I got so many questions for you, dude.
Mr. Frugal Freddy.
When it comes to your slice of the pie,
okay.
What is Frugal Freddy's slice of the pie? I'm sorry, Alfred, your slice of the pie. Al, you go by Al, Alfred.
I got a lot of names.
Duran,
yeah, I got
you
a
go
lot
for,
of names.
All right, I'm gonna
well,
call
before
you.
I answer that question, what is slice of pie? Like, where do you get that name from? Or?
I got it from the Jeffersons.
Really?
Yeah, so my favorite TV dad growing up was George.
Okay.
Think about it. I mean, of course, Uncle Phil was like the coolest dude ever, right?
He was.
And if I had a choice where I want to live, I'm gonna live in Bel Air.
Definitely.
You got a pool house and you got all, but actually that house was in Beverly Hills.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like a TV nut. So,
okay.
But it came from the show, The Jeffersons. And at the end of the theme song, it says, "I finally got a piece of the pie." So I just switched piece to slice.
Slice.
And when I think about it, it's something in life that we're pursuing.
Okay.
Like when passion meets purpose. And once you figure out like your why are you here? And it kind of all goes back to that.
So I would say my slice of pie right now, and I think it can change depending on where you're at in life, is freedom, time freedom. And I think where I'm at in the journey is really trying to figure out a way to transition out of corporate America, but I know it's going to take time. So right now, I would say it's time freedom, but the overall slice of pie, or even the whole pie, is family at the end of the day. And if I can get my time back, I can have more time with my family. And that's the most important thing to me. And then the money is a byproduct of the value that I provide to the people that I'm helping or the businesses that I have. So I'm not chasing money, I'm chasing freedom, for real.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that, and that's rare. Yeah. And I can just tell by who you are, it's genuine.
Yes. I hope it comes off that way.
I mean, once people get to know you, I know it will.
Yeah, and I ain't really frugal for real.
No?
Nah.
We'll get to that.
Yes.
We're gonna get to that, man. So now we're at this space where it's like you hit me up about Budgets and Brews, and I'm like, oh, this is so fire.
Yes,
so how did that come about?
So that came about 2 years, March 2020, right before the pandemic became the pandemic. Okay. I hosted a meetup in Columbus, Ohio, for men. And it was called Budget and Brews. And we had it at a black-owned brewery in Columbus, and about 40 guys came out. And it was a really good time. And at first, I didn't know what I was, like I had a gold mine right there. And since then, I kept brewing on like, should I do it, should I not do it? And then officially in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, we launched the Budget and Brews financial tour. And ultimately, Budget and Brews is for men, a community for men to talk about money, life, family, through brotherhood and drinking beer. Yeah. And, so yeah, I'm very excited about what's to come with Budget and Brews. I've got a lot of good feedback, like, hey, we need this for the fellas. And there's no knock to the ladies. You know, we just need a space where we can just be men, talk about money, connect, do business, do stuff like this, and really just make money sound sexy. Budgeting, all that good stuff. You know, people don't like the word budget.
Nope.
But my goal is to make budgeting be a cool thing. And I think I'm on a path of doing that.
Yeah, I think you are too, because it all starts with the conversation, right? And then it's getting, especially as men, because we're conditioned not to talk about these things.
At all.
We're conditioned just to go out there and figure it out, right? And when we're thinking about, now that we're starting to have these conversations, things get a lot easier. Like I was just telling Aaron that I was looking for someone so long to help me like curate a discussion about business credit. And then one day I was in a shop and we were in the shop and we were talking and I'm like, this dude is smart. Like, and I'm like, I've known this man all my life and him and I just never had that conversation. So I'm thinking like, you know what? I got to get him on my podcast. And it's just those conversations, but it's tough. It's tough for us men. So how do you, you know, that's going to be an uphill battle too.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
So,
but I'm excited for that battle.
Tell me about it.
Because there aren't a lot of spaces for men to talk about money. So I think one thing that I've learned about myself, I like the journey, I like the challenge. So when you see on social media, you don't see a lot of content geared towards men to talk about these topics. And that's what excites me, like trying to bring beer and money together. That's two opposites, but I think they can be cousins, you know?
We love beer and we love money.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's acquiring the money is one thing, but knowing what to do with it is like, dude, that's a totally different aspect. It's not even, you got to bang your head against the wall so many times just for you until that light goes off.
You got to take some L's, like, and I try to present on social media that, one, I don't know everything, I know something, but also be transparent in life's challenges. And it's not always about taking L's, but it's about having those lessons through those L's, and I actually appreciate those, to be honest with you, like just the budgeting or even overuse of my credit card and not being disciplined and doing different things to better manage that. It could be taking out a business loan that probably was too much, but I've learned the lesson through those moves. So yeah,
you learn far more in your losses than you do in your wins.
I agree.
But you just want to make sure you have more wins than losses. So
definitely.
So one question: What's Frugal Freddy's like go-to budgeting plan, or like what's your best? Give me like, I'm not gonna say top 5 budgeting plans, but give me like, if it's not just one, give me a couple of your budgeting.
I'll give you a few. Like, I love the zero-based budgeting method.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, so that's where, subtract your expenses from your income, and whatever you have left over, you assign a job to your expense or just something you want to spend money on. Another thing I like to do, you want to get technical, like tactical.
Yeah.
Like big expenses, I split up in half between 2 paychecks. So if I have my mortgage or my rent, and if it's, say, $1,000, I put $500 to a separate account, and then when I get paid the second time a month, the other 5 goes there. And
wait, let's back up a second.
All right.
No, I want to follow this clearly.
Okay.
I'm horrible with air math. So So let's just say your paycheck. Let's say your monthly paycheck. Let's be real. Let's say your monthly paycheck is, your monthly income is like $4,000.
$4,000,
right?
okay.
So you're gonna cut half of that $4,000?
No, my bad. So say if you have a mortgage for $1,000.
Oh, your mortgage is $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to kind of stretch your money, I do 50% of that. So it'd be $500 that I'm putting aside for just my mortgage. And then when I get paid the second time in the month, that $5 is going to that same account, and then that's getting deducted.
Oh, and
so
then
I'm
that's the
stretching
mortgage.
my money.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm stretching my money. So I'm not dropping $1,000 for my first check and like, oh crap, I don't have no money.
Then you're broke until the next.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one way to combat living check to check. And
that's a really good idea.
Yeah. And then the third thing that I do, I pay myself first.
That's my favorite budgeting plan.
So if I am making, say, my net income for the paycheck is $2,000, I pay 10% to myself. I tie it to myself.
Yes, sir. You got to pay yourself, man.
Yeah, 10% of that is going to a savings account. It can be for your long-term savings and your short-term savings. So I would say those 3, the zero-based budgeting method, breaking those big expenses in half between the 2 paychecks, and paying yourself first. And also saving, you know what I mean? That's the most important.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
You got to. So let me ask you this. Do you save outside of like your emergency fund? And do you save like outside, let's say you have your emergency fund, you have your rainy day fund, right? Do you save outside of those, or are you like, I'm good once I get to that point?
It depends where I'm at in life. So right now, I have a fun account.
Okay.
So that's a savings account to me. So if I'm like have a weekend trip, I tap into that money. I don't feel guilty about tapping into that money, and I try to drain that money because I've set it up in my budget that I'm going to have a random weekend trip, and I don't want to be scrambling for money.
Yep.
But outside of my emergency savings, one of the things I'm actually saving for now is a down payment for a duplex.
Okay.
So I know that's going to be a nice price for the down payment. So I'm just putting a certain percentage towards that, and that's me paying myself. So the way that I pay myself is different depending on where I'm at in life. So like I'm trying to buy a duplex, so I'm gonna pay myself first, which is paying myself for the down payment of that duplex.
So let me ask you this. Undergrad, you went to BW?
Oh no. undergrad,
Carroll?
I went to Mount Union
Mount
College.
Union. I knew it was one of those
Graduate
D3
school, I
schools.
went to BW, yes.
Graduate school.
Yes.
Okay, so did you go right after, or was it like a pause, then you went?
No, I went right after.
Right
Actually,
after.
2 weeks after I graduated from undergrad, I started grad school.
Okay, so, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I had a job lined up
Yeah.
after, like 2 years after graduation. So I was like, I might as well go to get my MBA.
Might as well. You know, I did the same thing, but I went in the fall.
Got you.
So I gave myself a little bit of time off, and then I just went in the fall, and that was when I was wanting to climb the corporate ladder.
Oh.
You're so optimistic at that time, and you're
Oh,
like,
so green, so just, I love this
I'm
space.
going to change this world. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to work from the bottom, and I'm going to like change everybody.
CEO.
Change everybody's perception on how to
Yes.
do business, and then life happened. So let's start here. So let's say you meet a young man, and let's say you meet yourself right after grad school, right before you started making. Wait a minute, you already had a job lined up.
But I wasn't working.
When did you start working?
October 2011.
2011. You graduated in 2020? 2010?
Yep.
I did too. Small world.
Yep. And I graduated 2010 for undergrad, and then I did my master's in a year because I had that job lined up.
It took me a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of slipping a little bit,
Yeah.
but
It's all good.
I finished though.
You here though?
We made it. So, what advice would you give to yourself after you got your very first paycheck in after college, from a financial perspective?
That's a loaded question. I would have told myself to know my numbers. And when I say know my numbers, know how much debt I have, project how much income I will have every paycheck from that check, and just really know what the game plan is. And I think when you're 20-something, you're not thinking that. I got a comma in my check, so I'm going to go just spend it. And that's definitely what I did. So I would definitely have taken a step back to really understand the landscape of my financial makeup. And I didn't do that. And I think that was the one thing that really woke me up, because I didn't know nothing. I just knew I had to pay the debt.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to go to work and I get a paycheck, but I didn't know what to do with that money.
It's crazy. I wish we all can
I wish I can go back, man. I really do. But I don't wish I would have went back and changed, because if I didn't go through those hard times, I don't think I would be where I'm at today.
You can't skip experiences,
No,
man.
not at all.
Because life is going to hit you in some shape, form, or fashion.
I agree.
And when it does, you just got to learn from it. It all goes back to learning from those L's, right?
Yep.
Sunshine and blue skies is not every day.
Not every
We grew up in Cleveland too, so we already know what time it is.
It's pretty gloomy here, man.
It's pretty gloomy. Now that is super dope, just to hear your story and hear you reflect on
Yes.
that. So now we're present day,
Yes.
right? And when it comes to Frugal Freddy, the brand, what should we be looking out for in the future? I know we got Budget and Brews.
Yes.
We got Budget and Brews. We did Columbus, Cleveland, and now Cincinnati is May 28th?
April 28th.
April 28th.
Yes.
Oh man, it's like, okay, yeah.
But no, you'll start seeing more of me on social media. You'll see more events, and I think when we're talking about money, you got to be in people's faces. Like social media it can be a cop out, because that's the safe space. Like, oh yeah, I can just turn on my camera or take a picture and say some cool stuff, but you got to really meet people, because everyone's financial situation is different. So I'm a people person, so I feel like I need to figuratively and literally touch people, and that gets me going. So you'll see a lot more events, a lot more content, a lot more of me in the community doing cool stuff like this, keynotes, all that good stuff. So look out for that, more meetups.
Yeah,
just a lot of dope stuff out here in the community in different cities.
I think that is super dope, because it's something that we desperately need.
Yes.
So this is Slice of Pie.
Uh-oh.
This is a podcast on personal finance and entrepreneurship. We are not perfect, so I got a question for you. I got a few questions for you.
Oh,
but
man.
the first one, what's one of Frugal Freddy's financial vices?
Oh, I got two.
Okay.
I told you this Frugal Freddy stuff is it's not a front, but it is a front. Like, my one vice, I'll spend a lot of money on books. So I mostly read financial books and nonfiction, like motivational, spiritual type of books, like mindset books.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I will spend the bag on a trip, vacation.
Oh,
There's
really?
no limit when it comes to that because it's a life experience.
You can't skip those.
Not at all. So for my 35th birthday, I plan on taking a train ride from Chicago to San Fran. And that's going to cost a lot of money, but I'm looking forward to it.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about this train ride. Wait, what? You can do that?
Yeah.
It's one train?
Yeah, on Amtrak. And you have stops along the way.
You're not afraid of getting robbed in Chicago?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I'm from Cleveland.
You from Glen Harbor.
But no, for real, like I'm looking forward to that, and I don't care how much it costs. I'm gonna save for it.
You're gonna plan for it, yeah.
Yep, and that's the main thing. Like, I try the people that I work with. I try not to make them feel guilty. We all have vices. We all have to live. Life, you only got one life to live. So if whatever your vice is, double down on that, but don't double down on the stuff that don't matter at the end of the day.
Prioritize,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay. So how do you find balance? Because you have to be fiscally responsible, especially because we're men,
Yep.
right? And we're men, we're providers.
Yep.
So in order for us to provide, we got to be in that position too. So how do you find balance into being frugal, or it's not a front because I know you, but being frugal, but also being financially responsible?
It's really knowing my goals. So if I'm chasing freedom, I know I have to save because I know it's going to come to a point where I'm going to have to divorce myself from corporate America.
Yep.
So it's definitely having, the discipline and the plan and the vision. And I think to me, that's the biggest thing is really having a vision, a plan, and a discipline to execute. And that helps me stay grounded. That helps me really understand that when we have those down times, that the vision is still there. The way to get there may be different. And I have to be okay to pivot. And I think that's the biggest thing as men. We can probably just get so zoned in on one thing or only one way to do it, but we have to understand that we have to pivot sometimes. Life comes at us all day, every day. So that's the biggest thing for me is pivoting and really transition to different areas of life and moments of life.
Man, well put. Because balance is so important.
It is.
And I always tell people you can be fiscally responsible and enjoy your life at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. To go back to one of the statements you said probably about 5-10 minutes ago, you mentioned social media and how it's like a cop-out, right? But the entire thing through all these episodes is like doing the work.
Yes.
Like with your brand, with your business, you got to do the work.
Got to do the work.
But when it comes to social media, there's something that bothers me to the core.
Uh-oh.
But I want to get your opinion on it because my wife think I'm just tripping, and she more than most often she's right. I'm not even gonna lie to you, she's right most of the time. So, but I'm still stuck in my conviction. So going through the CFP process, they makes you be objective, meaning, okay, what works for me may not work for you, and what may not work for you may work for someone else. So from that perspective, I love it. But when you're on social media and all these financial gurus and people that's on Facebook, Instagram, and all that jazz,
everybody's a guru now.
Everybody's a guru now, right? So they give out all this advice, and it makes me cringe. And it makes me cringe because you can't give advice without knowing someone's situation. That's my opinion.
I agree.
So when I see it, I cringe all the time because I'm thinking somebody can take that advice, but it may not be the best fit for them because of where they are in life. So what's your thoughts on, not my perspective, but on the whole, everybody's a financial guru on Instagram these days?
I would say, unfortunately, generational wealth is becoming this fad. And I think generational wealth is good, don't get me wrong. But we're all chasing that, right? And that's a good thing. And I think people see that some of us are hopeless when it comes to money. So that opens an opportunity for people to sell hope to those people. Hence, everyone's a financial guru. And I cringe too, and I kind of taken a step back. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the real person that you can just see me going down the street and we just talking about money. I'm not building a platform for me. I'm building a platform for the community, or the face of a guy that may be like me, mid-30s, got a couple of dollars in his pocket, want to do better for his family. What do we do with this money? Not trying to build this whole movement about me, which is like a self-serving thing, which I'm not trying to do.
It is, yeah.
And it's really about the community. One thing I'm learning about myself, I'm community-based, and whatever I do is community in mind and family in mind. So I cringe, and I try to shy away from social media or people that are like that. And don't knock to what they do, that's their hustle. But for me, it's not for me. And I'm okay with that. I'm confident in myself that I don't need 100,000 followers to make an impact. We're making impact now just having this conversation and being vulnerable and not trying to be macho. I'm like, hey, Jason, I got $1 million in the bank account. Like, if I did, why would I even say that? You know what I'm saying?
Because if you did, you wouldn't say
exactly.
that.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Or just be confident in that I don't have to always lead with my money. I can just lead with who I am, and we can have respect that way.
Yeah, to me, it's corny. Like, showing money on the internet is corny. To me, because it's like, if you got money, why do you have to show it?
Exactly.
And I can't lie, I kind of fell into that trap.
We all have.
And then I caught myself because, well, in school, really affirmed it, but I caught myself because, like, my barber was like, dude, that's corny. Like,
wow.
He was like, it is. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He was like, don't do that. Don't be like everyone else. And then once I started going to school, and they're like, you just got to be objective. You got to get to know people. And it's like, a totally different perspective.
Self-awareness.
Yeah. And then I thought about it, and I said, I don't want to be that guy that shows his wealth. Like, it's not for you to consume.
Right.
You know, it's for my family and I. Right. And then, it's just a whole other.
And one thing I'm learning through this journey, giving is a part of generational wealth. So with the Budget and Brews, one of the things that we do, we identify a community organization in each city, and we donate a portion of the ticket sale proceeds to that organization.
So who was it for Columbus?
Columbus was Royal Oak Initiative. So it's a chess nonprofit to teach young boys and girls how to play chess.
Oh, dude, I love that. I love chess. That's chess. Like, my father taught me how to play chess at an early age, and I'm like, I don't think he knew, or maybe he did, but chess teaches you strategy. And in business, strategy is everything. I don't know if he put those two. He could have, but I'm just happy that he did.
That's
so
sweet.
Cleveland was Peel Back Them Layers.
So that's an organization where they're utilizing hip hop to help black boys and men with mental health. And I'm all about mental health. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I don't mind talking about it. But mental health is important for us as black men. If we don't have our mind right first, we can't make money. And I'm always trying to be mindful of that. Like, knowing what my triggers are, knowing that we all have anxiety, we all have depression, seasonal depression, we all experience it. So really being transparent about that and going to therapy. And I look at therapy as maintenance. Like, you'll do maintenance on your car, you should do maintenance on your mind. And I look forward to going to therapy. Like, at one point I was going bi-weekly. And,
really?
Yeah, because work triggered. 2 panic attacks.
Oh my God.
Being a new family man, that was a lot to manage. And so I was going bi-weekly, and then I transitioned to monthly. Now I'm at quarterly. And then next year I'm trying to go by 2 times a year.
Yeah, I think it's so important. Therapy is so important. It saved me. It saved my marriage because we hit that mark. That 7-year or 8-year itch or whatever we did, and I just had to take a look in the mirror at myself, and I'm like, it's you need to go talk to someone. And what's crazy is communication is so important. I know everybody talks about it, but this is year number 10 for us in our marriage.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. I'm lucky, but with her, it's like, okay, I have to be more open and I have to just talk. And it's crazy because when we start talking about our issues, it's like, now we're in the best position we've ever been.
Awesome.
And we're well past the honeymoon stage, but now it's like we have a deeper understanding of each other. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's okay to talk to people. But growing up, I didn't like to talk to people. And then it's like my makeup, my dad's an Army man. So my dad is like, I didn't think my dad was human until he had a health scare later on in his life.
Wow.
Before that, I swear my dad was straight rigid. My dad never showed emotion, or he rarely showed emotion. I never see my dad with facial hair because he always shaved every day.
Wow.
That's my father. I love that man. He's everything. But it's like, and you emulate your dad because you are in the image of the man that raises you, which is crazy. So let's get back to budgeting, man.
Oh yeah,
so,
we're getting deep in.
Yeah, let's do some fun stuff while we're here.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned you're taking that vacation, in which I got to hear more about this vacation because it sounds fun, but it sounds kind of uncomfortable. But
it might be.
When I think of that's a long number. So okay, people go on vacations all the time.
Yep.
What's some budgeting tips to prepare for a vacation?
Well, of course, one, determine the price of the vacation. And then if you know you're a year out, 6 months out, have a line item on that budget for vacation.
When you say know the price, are we talking like the tickets, we're talking airfare?
I would say everything.
Hotel, kick it money?
All that.
Because don't you hate going on vacation with people and they don't got the bread?
Or they run out of money.
Or they run out of money and it's like, God, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But then,
see, that's why I don't try to vacation with other people.
So you're going solo though?
No, I'm gonna go with the lady.
Okay.
But I think when you go with couples, we could talk about that.
Yeah. Let's not get into the super weeks. But talk to me about it, man. What's a good strategy?
Yeah, definitely knowing the total price, airfare, hotel, kick it money, miscellaneous money, all the monies, and whatever that amount is, try to put a line item in your budget for vacation and allot a certain percentage to that line item, and then that money that you have accumulated, just having a separate banking account or even a savings account, so when the time comes for the vacation, you can just transfer that money out. And you just utilize that money while you're on vacation. Oh. And or use a credit card. But you got to have that discipline.
Yeah. Wait, when you say use a credit card how?
Use the credit card how? Pay for the fare, the airfare, the hotel. But it's still important to save that money. So if someone wants to play the points game and they have that money already saved, they can just use that credit card and just pay off that credit card when they're done with the trip.
Oh man, big time.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000% on board with that. It's like with me, when it comes to like credit cards and stuff, it's like, okay, I need those points.
Yep.
Like either I'm going to get the cash back, which is 1.5 or 2%, or I'm going to get the points from Marriott, I'm going to get the points from Delta, I'm going to get the points from some people. When we do these group trips and they take Spirit, pass. I'm the bougie friend that takes Delta or American because I got so much points accumulated that I don't pay for airfare.
I love that.
So, but the strategy, how that all started was I was watching, I forgot this YouTuber dude name, and he was like, I don't know why people still pay for flights in hotels. And I wasn't even looking for that. I was watching a DIY project because I always screw stuff up at my house. I said, what? I clicked on it, and then I said, dude, this is like ingenious. But the discipline comes into play because
that discipline's important. The
credit card as it's in itself it's a loan from the bank, but people may think that, you know what, I'll pay it off next month. The road to hell was paved with good intentions, right? So that's how we get into credit card debt, which is crazy. So, okay, so I love that plan. I love that plan for vacations. What about, let's go something more long-term. Let's say you want to pay for like professional development. I'm not going to say college because that's a really big expense that you should like in the future. But let's say you're at work and you're you can get this promotion that's going to come up in the next, like, let's say a year or so. But your mentor is like, yo, you got to a certification works. How would you go about that?
Ooh, that's a good question. That wasn't on the list of questions.
No, I'm super random with
No,
these.
I would say if it was me, of course, determine what the price is.
Yeah.
First, I would see if there's any grants or scholarships that I can leverage.
First and foremost, yeah.
Or any work tuition reimbursement programs. And if those are not available, it goes back to that budgeting. And you may have to put it on a credit card. And I'm okay putting that on a credit card, but knowing that you can break those payments in increments. So if it's $1,000 for whatever the certification is, just pay $250 every paycheck. You're done in 2 months,
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one thing, because things come up. And we can't pay cash for everything. And I used to be a cash 100% on everything back in the day.
Yeah.
But things do come up, and opportunities are very, very rare. So if I have an opportunity to increase my professional development, and I may not have the money or the cash liquid or whatever, I'll put it on a credit card, but I would pay that amount off over a time period, no more than 2 months.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, more than 2 months. But it's like people get into trouble when they do that. So
you're right.
If they were to spread it out over a credit card, I would strongly suggest getting like a 0%, like a balance transfer card, or one of those 15, 18 months 0% APR cards. But it's just scary because the credit card debt hit. I think it hit $1 trillion last year or 2 years ago.
Wow.
It's in the 4 now. So you have home, you have student loans. You have you got home, student loans, credit cards, and then there's a fourth one. What's the fourth one?
You say auto?
Auto.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, with a home, tangible, you have that asset. Car, it's a depreciating asset, but not in today's world, but in normal sense it is. And then student loans, you can chalk that up to self-investment, or we can get into the student loan thing. I think it's But then with credit cards, it's like you don't have anything to show for it but Gucci bags and Louis slippers, right? So it's like when you rack up all this credit card debt, you have to figure out like where the hell did all my money go?
Yeah. I mean, I had that experience as far as the opportunity came up to go to a conference that I've been looking to go, and at first I wasn't going to go because of how much it cost. The registration was $1,200, and I was like, $1,200 to go for a conference, and then the hotel was $400 a night, and I flew Spirit down there.
You staying in the Ritz?
No, it was something in Fort Lauderdale. It was like 5-star.
Fort Lauderdale is cheap.
No, not
that hotel. You stayed in like the Ritz or
it was like
W.
right off the beach, but I used my credit card for that whole trip, and I was able to pay it off within like a month. And I'm good. I had a good experience, met good people, and like I said, I'm all about life experiences, and I knew I had to go to that conference to get the knowledge that I've been seeking for this particular industry. So it's worth it.
It's an investment.
Yep.
It's definitely an investment into yourself. So self-care.
Oh yeah, I love that.
You do?
Oh yeah.
So that's something you got to budget into.
Oh yeah. I encourage people to have a line item in their budget about self-care.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Why not?
Yeah, it's one of my vices. It's I get my haircut weekly.
I respect that.
So, and I just started getting like manicures and pedicures too. Like,
I respect that too.
I love it. It's like, you know, when life is so crazy and you're doing all this stuff, you know, when you take that break, it's like, it's kind of nice to look at your nails and they're nicely clean and they're filed, or your feet is really nice, and I'm like, I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. So what's another line item in a budget that people may be weary about that you think should stay? I know that's kind of a broad question.
That's a good question though. When you say weary, like they shouldn't do it, or they should do it, or they're thinking about doing it?
All three. It's like, so we can say like weekly night out drinks with like the fellas or with the ladies.
Yeah. I think that's important. Like, I'm all about living life.
Dude, I thought it.
I told you this frugal stuff, man. I'm about to change my name, but no, seriously, man, like, it's all about operating within the boundaries that you set for yourself. And I think the budget is the boundaries that you set for yourself. You know how much you make, you know how much you pay out in expenses each month. Hopefully you have something left over, and that something that's left over you can live life on.
You know what's crazy? One of Dave Ramsey's quotes was, he said, budgeting eliminates the guilt of spending money. I don't know if he said that verbatim, but I know he said it because I actually put it in one of my slides when I was teaching budgeting. Yep.
And it's crazy you brought that up. When I was on the Dave Ramsey roller coaster, I felt guilty spending money. And I make good money, and I felt guilty. Like, I remember I bought some Hirachis. They were like $80 or $100, and I felt guilty buying them. Really? Yes.
That's crazy.
Because I was so locked in to pay down debt, I wasn't living life. So now I'm at a point, and this money stuff is all mental. I'm at a point now where I don't have guilt-free. I have guilt-free spending because I got my little play money that I, replenish every so often, and I'm all about living life, paying down debt, increasing my income, opening businesses, and I think for me, that's life.
So I saw you on Instagram with the laundromat man.
Yeah, the laundromat millionaire.
What the hell is that, man? I mean,
hey, man. Hey,
I'm like, Frugal Freddy getting laundromat?
Yeah, so that's the conference I went to. It was the laundromat millionaire conference.
The $1,200 conference with the $500, $400 hotel?
Yeah.
You was on the beach.
I was.
Chest out.
Chest hairs all out. But in all seriousness, when I think about laundromats, I think about community. You think about it, laundromats are in the community, and it could be it's one of the beacons of the community. You think about well-established communities, they have, baseline businesses. They have the grocery stores, they have the gas stations, they have the laundromats, they have the dry cleaning. And I see myself operating that space in a couple years.
That is dope. I saw it, I'm like, man, he's on to the next one.
Yeah.
How did you get into vending?
Vending. Oh, that's a good question. One of my homeboys got into it. He started with like the little snack machines. You put the quarter in, you get the Mike and Ike's. Then he graduated to the big boy vending machines. And I've always been intrigued about vending machines because it's like, it's semi-passive. It ain't passive. We can talk about that later. But just the idea of providing a convenient service to the people, the community, was intriguing. And it's just snacks. You go to Sam's Club, you go to Kroger or Mark's or Giant Eagle, you get your product, you put it in there for a reasonable price, and you just make, your money that way. And I love it. I built a 5-location vending machine route.
Oh my God.
And it's been a pretty good experience. And it's a stepping stone to the laundromat, to be honest with you.
Man, multiple streams of income.
Yes.
Big time. You know what I love about passive income and about side hustles. Mm-hmm. And I know passive income is thrown around a lot and people really don't understand the true meaning of what passive income is, and we'll get to that. But how important is it to have additional streams of income if you're working at 8 to 5?
It's very important because one thing that I'm learning about just having multiple streams of income, you can leverage that money for different things. So I don't have to live off my side hustle money. Like, I utilize the vending machine money to pay down my debt. So I'm not touching none of my 9 to 5 money on debt anymore. Or I can use that money to invest in the stock market. So there are times if the stock market's kind of down, I'll throw some money from the vending machine money into the stock market. I'm not touching none of my 9 to 5 money. And it's lovely. But I had to take that risk. And at first, I didn't really have the risk appetite to really step out there. Because I actually got a loan to start the vending machine business.
I did not think you would be the loan type.
But it's good debt.
Oh my God! When did you shift from this?
Oh,
Dave
I'm different
Ramsey
now. I'm
to,
different now.
Yeah, it's.
I am so different
dope.
now.
Okay, that is dope. I'm loving this. Man.
Yeah. So, and also leverage the personal line of credit to buy a couple locations. So, it's definitely leveraging debt to a good amount. Like, I don't want to be over leveraged. So I'm at a good point now where I have enough debt for the cash flow. Like, the cash flow is lovely, man. And I'm able to pay down debt and invest in the stock market off of the vending machines.
My thing is, when it comes to side hustles or additional streams of income, like Dame Dash said it, and I love what he says, but sometimes his approach is just like way off.
But we can't get caught up in that.
You can't. You got to see through the brashness.
Yep.
But he said it was selfish, and that hit hard because I'm like, you know what? He's right. Because, your income determines, money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys experiences, it puts your family in better positions. It's a way of life. So when I think about additional streams of income, I think about me working in corporate America, and either my boss or the regional or whomever, they decide how much money I'm going to make. And if they decide how much money, even if I'm commissioned, if they decide my commission structure, and they know with those damn spreadsheets, they know what they're doing, right? So from that perspective, it's like, gee, somebody that I don't know have that much impact on the quality of the life that I provide for my children. That doesn't sit well with me.
That's real.
It doesn't.
That's real.
So, yeah.
But that goes back to why I'm chasing time freedom. I don't want to get to a point in my life that I'm begging to take vacation. I had a recent experience at work a couple days ago. People are running out of PTO. So one way for us to get more PTO, we have to give blood.
What?
And I'm like, why do I have to give my blood for me to get one extra day of PTO? What kind of mind F is that?
That's just weird.
Yeah. But we got to do that to get our time back. And I'm like, I don't like that. And my team members are looking at me like, oh, here go Al. But let's be real. Like, I got to give blood just to get one day of PTO? I'm not doing that.
No, that's
so
weird.
It's now for me, is really trying to be patient because I have this vision to be a laundromat person,
Let's do it, man.
All the ugly businesses make the money, man.
They do.
And it's all, at the end of the day, for me, it's about winning. The way I win, that's all that. The way I win is not as important to me. As long as I win is important to me. So if it's through laundromats, if it's through vending machines, it don't have to be this sexy, I'm a entrepreneur, whatever.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, if it's laundromats, then hey, we good. You know what I mean? Or it doesn't have to be real estate. You know, this real estate thing is becoming a fad too, and I think real estate's important.
It's a super fad.
Yeah, and I want to get into real estate, but I'm not rushing it. I think God has put this laundromat on my heart for a reason, and I'm naturally one not to go with the crowd. So
Yeah.
you probably won't see a lot of guys talking about laundromats and being happy about it.
No, because I saw it. I'm like, what? But that's dope, though.
Yeah.
That certainly is. Okay. So final tip is going to be, I would like for you to give everyone a final tip from a Frugal Freddy perspective when it comes to budgeting.
Frugal Freddy, final tip. I would say, first, give yourself grace. This money stuff, me and you, we're learning that it's not an easy thing. So give yourself grace. Come up with a plan. If you need to work with a financial planner, work with that person, someone you trust, and then just execute. You're going to take the L's, and that's okay. That's going to make you better. But at the end of the day, give yourself grace, because we can be hard on ourselves with money. Money's stressful, but if we give ourselves that grace and have that self-awareness, I think a lot of us are going to be a long ways when it comes to money. Man,
well put. My final tip is going to be ball on a budget.
Ball on a budget.
That's my final tip. You can do cool things if you plan ahead. You can dress nicely if you plan ahead. Mm-hmm. Like these shoes, I'm a big shoe guy, right? These shoes I got on, you may think they're Alexander McQueen's, but they're not. I got them from Zara.
How much you pay for them?
$40.
They look fire.
Thank you. So the they look just like the Alexander McQueen's.
How much them cost? I don't even know how much them cost.
$500.
For some tennis shoes?
For some, they don't look too cool to me, but it's a thing, right? So, funny story. Oof. I was at a bachelor party last year in Vegas, and I brought these. We're going out the first night. I seen somebody with these on, but they had the McQueen's on. Did he look at you? I didn't wear them. I called my wife, and I'm like, I can't wear these shoes.
I'm out here. He gonna call me out.
I couldn't, man. And she was like, you got to stop being so materialistic. I'm like, I'm not. We'll talk about it when I get back. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't ready at that moment, But then now I think about it, I'm like, I'm going to wear these. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to start wearing them because it's like
confidence.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't need I'm 37 now, dude. So it's like, I don't care, but at that moment, at that time, it was just too much.
You had a moment.
It was just too much for me. So that's it, man. Dude, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
My endings are very awkward, so.
We're here.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to end this, but we're just going to end it.
Hey, that's it.
That's it.
No, that was dope.
Appreciate it, man. Dude, I learned so much.